Hi, my name is Adam Kunzmiller, and I'm here with BGG TV at Gen Con 2014. And I'm joined by Jesse LeBay with 1A Games, and we're here to talk about Hares Testing Grounds. So tell me about this game.
It's your old school vintage trail-based board game. First player to get to the finish line wins. It's as basic as that. You know, I wanted that vintage feel of. I hate using the reference of Chutes and Ladders or
Candyland.
Yeah,
or like that,
it's
right?
so funny because people see the trail and that's an attitude. It's like, oh, a trail-based game, and it has that. It does have that feel to it, but it's also updated with what would make that type of game interesting to play now. So it's a little mixture of the choose your own adventure or options, and yet you're moving towards the end goal, so it doesn't drag out too long.
Okay, well, what are some of those updates?
Okay, for example, instead of in a game like that, you might land on a space and it would say lose a card, and that's it, or lose next turn, and that's it. There's options, so you could land on a space and draw a card, and it would say you can either lose one card or your opponent can gain two. So it puts you in that moment of, okay, I'd rather hurt them than help me. And there's enemies you can come across that will change location as you play, and therefore their defense might change, or the pattern of where you're finding them is going to change as well.
And it looks like we have all sorts of different interesting characters and maybe scenarios. What's happening?
The majority of what you're looking at is rabbits. It's all these rabbits. And each one is not necessarily any more advanced than the other. They just each play differently. So at the start of the game, if you pick a character, let's say the mercenary, which seems to be a favorite, she has a certain amount of weapons that can be unlocked as you play.
Okay.
So if you're going to play this character, you might play her more aggressively on one game, and then in a second game play her, or somebody else might play her less aggressively, more defensively. And by doing so, you unlock things as the game goes. So I don't want to say you're leveling up, but you're opening up more options for this character. So if you have another character like the front soldier, he has a different set of options. Some of the things are the same, some of his weapons are new, making this character maybe more aggressive than she is. Again, depending on play style. It's been demoed so many times, there doesn't seem to be that one character that always wins, right? So it puts a little random factor in it. It just sometimes it's how you play, and other times if you do nothing but roll ones, nobody could really help you there either. But it does add that element of the leveling up your character as opposed to just what color do you want to be. I'll be blue, I'll be green. Yeah. You can still do that, but you could now put the face to your pawn.
It looks like they have different kind of custom options to them, different advantages, stuff like that.
Some of the fun thing, one of the fun things about the game is this is a basic character, and that means if you're using them, all you're doing is unlocking things, making her stronger, making him stronger. That's a basic character, not weak, just basic. A character such as this or this is what's called a deployable character, and the difference is, for instance, Boomya could curse another player, so he could put bad juju on you. So if you're using him, instead of upgrading something, you simply hand me a curse token, and as long as I have that on me, let's say every time I draw a card, you get to draw a card too. So it doesn't hurt me, but it'll tick me off because I'm like, stop, Right. And then there could be the bad juju is, if you put it on me, every time I roll a 5, you steal my 5 and I sit still. So he doesn't have as many options, but what he has can be annoying, painful. The hunter, same thing. He has one row of items, but he has a set of traps. And when you deploy those, instead of uncovering something, you say, you know what, I'm going to put a trap on the board. He can start laying out all these traps, which change the face of the space. So now if another player lands on that, maybe you could steal, maybe they go back, maybe they miss their turn. So they'll each play different. The Piper, she has a undead token that she could actually unleash, and now there's 2 of her on the board. There's her and her minion, and she can control him. So it'll make it a little fun. It'll give it some replayability, which is the thing I wanted to happen the most.
Okay, and how many players does this support?
It is a 4-player game. There's 6 characters. The reason there's 6 is I didn't want somebody to be the guy that's always stuck with the one nobody wants. I was that guy. So now even if you choose last, you'll get the the choice of the 3 guys, so you're never going to be stuck with anybody. So it is up to 4. There's 6 characters in this because it did so well on Kickstarter. They actually added another set 4 mystery characters that are going to be included in every box, as well as your plastic pawns So it bumped up a step or two from where it originally was. So.
And what's the typical playtime on this?
I used to say 15 minutes, per player, and I so hate saying that because, again, the dice can be so unpredictable.
Sure.
It can run long or short. I am safely saying 30 minutes per player. So if we were to sit down and play, it would run probably around an hour, depending on an average game. If you add 2 more, it doesn't add an hour necessarily, but it'll go over that hour. So,
okay.
One last thing I was going to point out while I'm looking at
sure.
it. One of the things I liked about this game, talking about the fun factor, the replayability factor, is you have a combination you could roll in the dice. If you rolling instead of rolling, if you want to research, or not even want to, if you roll the research, you roll a different dice. That gives you, that's the way you unlock certain of these abilities.
Yeah, it looks like we have some custom dice here too.
Yeah, we have some temporary dice for this promo piece over here at Gen Con. So if you end up rolling the right combination, you roll to go on an adventure. This is a game within this game. So for example, if somebody's in Lave Land and they're in this section over here and they happen to roll that combination, they pull out this card. And for that moment in time, this particular card states that all the players have to put a card face down and they take turns rolling. The first player to roll a 6 gets all those cards.
Okay.
But that's not going to happen every game. You might not roll that combination. You might play 3 or 4 times and never get this adventure. You might get this one 2 or 3 times. And because there's 10 different territories, there's 10 different adventures, and it takes a while for you to unlock each of them.
Sure.
But that does add that element of when it finally happens, it's a, oh yeah moment. So.
Great. And when will this be available for general purchase?
Possibly the end of September, early October is what I'm being told. That's what our guesstimation is of where it'll hit shelves.
Okay, great. Well, once again, that was Hares.